Hello, welcome back for another mod spotlight video on ARK Survival Ascended. Today we are diving into the world of the Rockwell's experimental treats mod from Trickster, which will set you back a small sum of $2 and can be played cross-platform. However, if you do like the look of this mod, be sure to stay to the end, where I will be giving away a number of free codes for this mod. This is a mod that will most definitely spice up your endgame journey. And for those of you who don't know the story of Rockwell, he is one of the few explorers who had written explorer notes in the ARK world, which contain many of his recipes before he went insane ascending with his Edmundium experiment, which is simply known to us now as Element, which is evident through his explorer notes. He brewed up many successful recipes before succumbing to the dark side. He successfully finished 8 recipes during his experiments labeled Rockwell's experimental treats, where 4 of these are new additions added to the mod within the past week. So let's dive right into his creations and see what this mod is all about. The first thing you'll be wanting to craft is Rockwell's trusty recipe book, which can be unlocked at level 1 with some cheap and cheerful crafting requirements, which is the only cheap item you'll be crafting in this mod, as you'll be burning through a lot of your much hard-earned resources when crafting any of the tasty treats. To use the recipe book, it's better to equip it to your hotbar, as when using it in your inventory, the menu will stay there. You can still just back out of that into the recipe options, so it's no biggie, but it is easier to use straight from the hotbar. The recipes are all endgame stuff. Element is required in crafting all of the treats, which we all know is an endgame resource, so you probably won't be wanting to use this mod if you never reach the tech tier stage in the game, unless you do want to just spawn them in for fun, which I can assure you will have a lot of fun with these treats. However, this mod will definitely be more viable when Extinction releases, as Element is plentiful on that map. Alrighty, so on the right you can see we got the recipes, we got the required ingredients beneath that, all the details you need to know, unlocks level blah blah blah, the amount of engram points, the duration and the cooldown of the treat. And on the left you get the description of the treat. At the top of your recipe book you get the recipe list, so that's a nice little touch there. And at the bottom you've got the admin menu, so this will be accessible to admins on the server or if you are playing single player. And this is where you can alter the duration of the buffs, unless we're talking about the Meteor strike here, as you can make it more powerful or weaker, I guess. So we'll quickly showcase the experimental baking powder and the unstable sugar first, as these two are not treats, however are core ingredients required in crafting all of the treats. Both of these are unlocked at level 25, the experimental baking powder requiring 1 element and 2 spark powder. Unstable sugar requires 1 element and 10 of any berry to craft, and this is just for 1, so it's pretty expensive. Both of these ingredients are crafted in the mortar and pestle or at a chemistry bench, though I'd be pretty worried if you're crafting these at the mortar and pestle rather than the chemistry bench, as the chem bench is more efficient, crafts more with the same amount of resources and is quicker. But what surprised me was that these ingredients have a very quick spoil timer of 20 minutes and cannot be placed inside a refrigerator or a preserving bin to increase the spoil timer, so you will need to craft everything together when you know you have the resources to do so. Treats can be crafted in either the cooking pot or the industrial cooker. There will be a separate folder for the treats, allowing for quick and easy access when crafting, so that's nice. And you'll be glad to know that once crafted, treats do not have a spoil timer. Now it's time to showcase the treats in all their glory, beginning with the dash treat, unlocked at level 65, and I won't talk you through the ingredients for the treats, but the ingredients can be viewed on screen for each treat, so you can pause the video if needed. This treat will give your player enhanced movement speed, able to dodge, duck, dip, dodge and dip when pressing the sprint key. When dashing, you will be immune to any damage. If you are riding a creature, you can force feed it to your tame, which will give it the same effect for 60 seconds, which can make even the slowest of creatures lightning fast. I have never seen a turtle move like this. Look at him go! Be sure to not dismount your tames with any of the treats active, as it will cancel the effect. Once consumed, there is a 3-minute cooldown before you can consume another dash treat. Up next we have the Ultra Leap. This one is unlocked at level 60 and I had a lot of fun using this one. Once consumed by the player or a tame creature, will give the user a power only the tech suit can compare. With the element fuel flowing through your bones, you are able to scale new heights around the height of a behemoth gate. The effect will last for 60 seconds where the world is your oyster for the short duration of time. In this state, your player or tame will take 0 fall damage, and if the effect wears off mid-flight, shall we say, you will get 1 free landing and won't take any fall damage coming back down to Earth. And this was hilarious when feeding this one to the T-Rex, which by the way is the largest dino you can feed this treat to. Anything bigger than a Rex won't allow consumption of the treat. The treat also shares the same 3-minute cooldown. Another favourite of mine is the Cloak Treat. This one is unlocked at level 80, and as you can see, these treats are gradually getting much more expensive. This treat will give you the ability to temporarily go invisible, which is very cool. And although from your point of view your player is still somewhat visible, you will be completely invisible to wildlife, tribe mates, and enemy players for the duration of 60 seconds. It will also mute the player's footsteps and also the sound of your armor clanking around, so great if you are wearing flak armor. If you equip a weapon, deal any damage, or take any damage, the cloak will deactivate, potentially leaving you in a spot of bother. And also be sure to consume the treat without a weapon equipped, as I have consumed the treat with a weapon out, which instantly deactivated the cloak, and there's no worse feeling than throwing your element down the drain. This treat can only be consumed by players. Creatures cannot be mounted when cloak is active. It is solely for traversing under the radar, and I had the perfect experiment for this treat. The artifact, the Strong Cave from the island map, aka the Hard Snow Cave. One of, if not the hardest cave in the game right now, and I was able to run through the cave completely unnoticed, where I was also able to open up some supply crates without the effect cancelling. Of course, I would have to take breaks and stop in safe spots to wait for the cooldown to consume another treat, but I did get to the artifact unscathed. Just be sure to consume the treat before anything is aggroed to you, otherwise you will still be targeted. The Cloak Treat also has a 3-minute cooldown. The Shield Aura is up next, unlocked at level 84. Once consumed, will give the player full invincibility for the duration of 15 seconds, which you may or may not think is a very short duration, but as you can see in the clip, it would be very overpowered if the effect lasted much longer, as I was able to steamroll myself over to this turret box and flatten it within 15 seconds. Well, almost, but you get the idea. If fed to any tame creature that you are riding, it will give the effect to you and your creature. This one does have a much longer cooldown of 5 minutes. Moving on to the 4 new treats, beginning with the Vampire Treat, which can be unlocked at level 82, and if you thought the first 4 had steep crafting requirements, well, you're in for a right treat now, no pun intended. These are super expensive. When consumed, will grant the player or tame creature the ability to leech 15% of their maximum health from any nearby enemies, and will deal significant damage to those enemies. So I wouldn't recommend using this treat on your player. I tested this by taking a tanky stego with around 20k plus health into the Broodmother arena, as the Brood summons a ton of spider minions, so I figured it'd be a great way to showcase it. Once low on health, force feed the Vampire Treat to your tame and watch the magic happen. This treat has been slightly updated since recording this clip, but you can see my stego drain the Broodmother's health down from a third right to its death, and was able to fully heal itself in the process. So it was much stronger in this instance, but as of now the scaling has been altered for each boss, with the treat draining up to 35% of the Broodmother's health, 25% for the Megapithecus, 10% for the Dragon, and 20% for the Manticore, Rockwell, and the Overseer, with a cooldown of 3 minutes. Up next is the Health Sacrifice Treat, unlocked at level 85, and yes, very expensive. So this treat can only be consumed by a medium-sized creature or larger, and with at least 90% of their maximum health. The higher the health of the creature, the stronger the effect will be. So think Daedon heal, but rather than passively healing with the Daedon, you force feed this treat to your creature, where all nearby allied players and creatures will begin healing for the duration. In this clip I had a Bronto with 40k HP, and it was able to fully heal the Stegos and the Rex. And of course the Sacrifice Tame will die once healing is complete. Poor Bronto. If playing on a server with boosted creature stats, the healing duration is capped to 67 seconds to stop the effect from lasting forever, also having a cooldown of 3 minutes. The Scanner Treat is next and can be unlocked at level 75, requiring some more rare resources for this one. This treat is exactly what it sounds like, giving the player the ability to ping nearby enemy players or creatures every 10 seconds, which keeps them highlighted for 3 seconds. The range of the scan is roughly around 20 or so foundations, and enemy pings are only visible to the player that consumed the treat. The effect will last for a whopping 5 minutes, and does have a 3-minute cooldown. However, it does seem you can consume another treat, while already having a Scanner Treat active, which will give you double radar and double enemy pings, so I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. And the grand finale of a treat is the Meteor Strike, unlocked at level 90, and I deliberately left this one to last, as it is by far the most expensive, requiring a whopping 180 element in total just to craft one treat. Once you have your treat, you are ready to have some fun. Once consumed, you will have 5 minutes to use the Meteor strike. Take aim by hitting the attack key and hit it again to launch a barrage of meteors right from the heavens and, well, let the devastation commence. This attack can be lethal to anything within the blast radius and can deal some heavy damage to structures including metal and tech. Plus, we'll also ignore saddle armor. As you can see here from this clip, I had a fortress setup defending my outpost, and this treat for sure ruined my day. My line of defense crumbled and my dreams were shattered. This treat is tied to the tribe, so once a player has consumed it, every tribemate of that tribe won't be able to use it again for 15 minutes. I do feel like this is the only treat out of the 8 that warrants the expensive crafting requirements. Admittedly, I'm not sure if this treat has a place in PvE, however I can imagine having these treats on an unofficial PvP server could make for some exciting PvP engagements. This mod is a load of fun and I'm really impressed with the attention to detail that has gone into it. The recipe book is a great addition, very detailed and tells you everything you need to know about every treat, and it's a nice perk of having an admin menu too. I'm very impressed by the visual effects of all the treats regarding the abilities, with each treat creating different color visuals, which is evident when in first person camera view. Sometimes you have to appreciate the small details, and I feel like Trickster has focused a lot of time in creating something visually pleasing. But of course I'm going to give some honest criticism too. He did mention to me that he does want this to be endgame stuff and not easily obtainable, and of course the treats have the backstory of Rockwell experimenting with Element, which I definitely do understand where he's coming from, but I do think the majority of the treats are way too expensive, especially the Dash and Ultra Leap. For example, you need 24 Element just to craft 1 Ultra Leap. As much as I love the mod and the abilities, I would probably only want to use 5 or so Element to craft those treats, as the tech suit can kind of do the same thing for cheaper, and let's be honest, if you have that much Element to burn, then you probably own a tech suit. The only perk for those two is that you can feed it to your tame creatures, and of course it's really fun to use the Ultra Leap. But this is just me. I pretty much play unmodded ARK and play close to official rates, so the requirements might be perfect for anyone that plays heavily modded ARK. As for the cloak, that is a whopping 56 element combine just to craft 1 treat, which is insane. I use 10 of those to get in and out of the hard snow cave, which in turn means I use 560 element in total just to grab 4 loot crates and an artifact without any aggro in the cave. So it did feel good at the time, but of course I spawned these treats in for the purpose of the video. I am never going to use that much element to go unnoticed, at least from a PvE perspective. But yeah, in my honest opinion, some of the treats need to be at least 70% cheaper for people to want to use them more often. When Extinction does release, it could potentially be a good idea to change the element requirement to hundreds or thousands of element dust instead per treat, as that will be obtainable on all maps, where bosses for the most part won't be the only way to obtain substantial amounts of element. And of course, once again, element cannot be transferred to and from maps, whereas element dust can, unless they don't change that when it releases. And one last thing, I'm not too sure having an alpha Carcanos claw in the crafting requirements for the Meteor strike is a good idea. This will strictly tie this treat to Aberration only, as you cannot transfer boss tributes to and from servers unless anything has changed since I last checked, so hopefully that will get changed. Other than that and the extremely steep crafting requirements, I had a ton of fun checking out this mod. I love the premise of it, I love all the effects. I would definitely say it's worth the $2 price tag, but for a vanilla player like me, there would definitely need to be a few changes in the crafting requirements for each treat. However, if you are playing a modded server that gives much easier access to elements other than defeating bosses, it could be an almost perfect mod the way it is. And that is going to be the end of the video. Be sure to join my Discord server, where I will be giving away free keys to this mod within the next week. Anyone who joins the server will automatically enter themselves in it to win it, where I'll be using a name generator to pick the winners at random. All the information and links you need to know will be in the description of the video and in a pinned comment, so be sure not to miss out. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe for more ARK content, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, goodbye.